so I think there's a fairly legitimate perception that as solo travelers, solo male travelers are always on the lookout for hookups, so they will tend to message or find or have a conversation with solo female travelers. And it doesn't help that there are apps and platforms out there that make life easier for such creeps to do this kind of stalking and yeah, this kind of filtering that I only want to speak to women or connect with women. But I suppose what I want to ask is, have you personally experienced or have you heard of like really horror stories where it is between two solo female travelers where it's not just about annoyance, but things are like really got bad between two solo female travelers? Have you experienced that or have you heard of that?
Yes, I have. Between two solo female travelers.
Yeah.
I actually, first I was like, oh, I didn't have any bad experience, but actually I did have this experience. So the one that I shared with you before was this Chinese guy, and then with another solo female traveler she was from Italy, I think. But at that time, it was in 2014, so that was 6 years ago. And 6 years ago, I just started working in tourism, and then as my first solo trip, I wanted to travel around Isikul Lake, and I took my sleeping bag, and at that time I didn't even think about having a tent. I was like, okay, I'll just sleep in the beach in my sleeping bag. It was so crazy, but I don't know. I just wanted to go wild, and I didn't think about a tent. So yeah, and then this Italian woman who was staying at the hostel, she was like, oh, can I come with you? I was like, yeah, sure, let's go together. And and then we were traveling, and then it happened that, I don't know, I met this guy who started messaging me who messaged me on WhatsApp saying, hey, how are you? I was like, oh, I'm okay. I'm going to travel around Isikul. And he was local, by the way. And he was like, oh, can I come along? I was like, yeah, sure. Why not? And then he had a car. So he drove, and I think we met him in Cornwall. So once I met him, I was like, okay, you have a car, so we're gonna buy the food. So the Italian lady and then me, we went for shopping. We bought some food for our trip, and we loaded in the car, and then we drove to. It was over like above Karakol in Jetogus. Like Jetogus is a valley. Actually, past Jetogus, there's a valley called Kokjayik. It's a very beautiful valley. There's a flower valley there as well. So we went there, and then the first night the guy had a tent, and then he was like, oh, are we gonna share the tent? So he asked me. I was like, no, actually, I don't feel like sharing a tent with you. I said I'm just gonna sleep in the yurt. And but before that, I actually had vodka, and I think I didn't drink vodka. I don't remember now. Yeah, but the Italian lady and him.
If you don't remember, you probably did have.
But I was very sober, and at that time I didn't drink much. Like, I mean, if I would just drink a little, I would get drunk. So I think I really didn't drink because I didn't want to get drunk, and it was in the mountains. But the Italian woman and him, they drank the whole bottle of vodka, and then he was like, okay, I have my tent here, and he was like, let's share a tent. To me, and I was like, no, think I'm gonna sleep in a yurt. So the Italian lady and me, we left. He stayed alone, like on the pasture. But then, when we woke up the next day, he was gone.
Oh,
like he left, and he didn't tell us anything. So I left some of my things in his car, but. Anyway, I mean, it was really small things like sunglasses that actually took me a while to get them back. Like, I was like, I'll pay for the shipping, just send them back to me. And then when I shared with this Italian lady, she was like, oh, it's because you didn't sleep with this guy.
Oh my gosh, what the hell?
Yeah, she told me, you should have slept in the tent. She said, guys, how they think, they only think about one thing. So if you would have stayed there in a tent, then we would have a nice car. And actually had a really nice car. It was like kind of Jeep, something like that. she was like, now, we have to think about how to get out of here. And it's all because you didn't sleep in the tent. I was
What
like,
the hell?
yeah, exactly. So I was like, oh my God, I don't want to travel with this woman. So then, I saw some Spanish guys who were staying also in the yurt, in another yurt, and I asked them, hey guys, and they had a really big car actually. They had plenty of space. So I was like, hey guys, is it okay if you drop us off at the main road? And I think they were not really happy. Like, we haven't talked to them at all, and it's just I came out of the blue and I was like, can we share?
Right.
But eventually they were like, okay, that's fine. We will drop you off to the nearest like highway stop. And we're like, okay,
Right.
that's perfect. So yeah, and then I told the lady, okay, we can go down to the main road, and from there on, I think I'm gonna travel on my own because I don't know what my travel plans are gonna be and where I wanna stop. And I told her like that, and then maybe she realized, I don't know, but she said, oh, I also have a stomach ache, so I'll just stay somewhere on the road. So yeah, that's how we parted. I kept traveling on my own. So yeah.
For full episodes, go to solopacker.com.